Juan Carlos Hidalgo, your report card?
Well, I'm very disappointed at the President's domestic performance, but I'm encouraged by his foreign policy performance, especially not in the Trinidad and Tobago summit. The administration has been very candid that they don't want this crisis to go to waste. They are using this crisis as a justification to expand the size of government dramatically in many areas: energy, education, healthcare, where they don't have anything to do with the economic crisis that we're facing.
Juan Carlos, you gave the President a not so great grade on domestic policy and noted that he was expanding the size of government. And during his 100 days news conference, he said, look, I don't want to have the government owning pieces of companies. I don't want to be bailing out car companies and banks. And when the emergency is over, we'll go back to the old business as usual. Do you not take him at his word?
I don't take him as his word. I mean, public spending is very inflexible. Once you expand spending, it's very hard to take it back, because then you create pressure groups that want that spending to remain in place and even expand it. So that's why I'm very skeptical. But I want to talk about one of the statements that President Obama said in this video. It was said, like, it doesn't matter whether an idea is conservative or liberal, it's whether it works, and referring to education. Well, precisely, we're here in Washington, D.C., and there was a report by the Department of Education about the great advancements that the D.C. voucher program has made for kids here in the district. That report was hidden by Mr. Obama's Department of Education, and because they wanted to kill the D.C. voucher program, and they eventually did. So it shows how, from rhetoric, yes, they talk about a non-ideological approach to policy, but in practice, this is one of the most driven ideological administrations in recent decades.
Well, Juan Carlos, you're from Cato. If the President moves ahead with his stated intention to introduce immigration reform, will he find he has allies in perhaps unexpected quarters?
Well, let's remember that President Bush supported a very comprehensive immigration reform. It wasn't perfect for sure, but it was pretty good. And it was his own party that wanted to kill that reform. Now we have a Democratic president. We expanded Democratic majorities in Congress. I think there is a very good chance to have a similar reform passed. And yeah, definitely there are allies in the Republican Party. The Republican Party is finally realizing that they can't be the anti-immigrant party because they face decimation as a political national party. They lost the mountain states of Colorado, Nevada, and New Mexico, where there are large Hispanic communities. They lost Florida. They lost Illinois also with a large Hispanic community. So I think that they finally are realizing that they have to be open to immigration. Immigration is good for the United States. It's good for everyone in this country. So I think that this is finally coming. They're finally coming to senses.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no denying that the Democratic Party right now has close to 60 votes. And so I think, the challenge is going to be whether they're going to overreach. We saw this in the Republicans in 2002. And I think, maybe the Democrats might learn some lessons from the Republicans, if they want to have this permanent majority that they're right now really enjoying.
Wow, Juan Carlos Hidalgo, is that really a strategy? Hoping that the other side messes up?
Well, that's the only strategy left for conservatives in this country, because they're certain to have a 60 vote filibuster proof majority, the Democrats in the Senate. So there is little else they can hope for. However, I will focus also on those Democratic senators from conservative states that have been murmuring that they are going to oppose key parts of Mr. Obama's agenda. Senator Evan Bayh from Indiana is leading a group of conservative Democrats in the Senate. They oppose cap and trade. They are very reluctant on the check card, of the union's check card. So I will pay attention to them, because they might play a key role in this new composition of the Senate with a filibuster-proof majority.
Numbers came out this week, guests, that indicated that if you add the people who say they like the president and his policies, and the people who say they like the president but don't like his policies, that number's around 80%. A lot of people like this guy, and I'm wondering, as a matter of practical politics, whether that makes things a lot easier for him, even when he's trying to get Congress and the people to swallow some very tough proposals. Juan Carlos?
He's definitely a skillful politician in the light of Ronald Reagan, John Kennedy, and he's putting that into good use for his agenda. There's no disagreement on that. However, President Bush, George W. Bush, was as popular as President Obama at the same point in his presidency. So we're still 100 days into Mr. Obama's first term. There's still a lot of months ahead, and the economy, if the economy keeps soaring, well, we'll see a more discontent growing. And let's remember, this is a country with values of limited government. People don't like big government. There is a lot of skepticism towards Washington. And we're witnessing the largest expansion of government since George W. Bush. So I think that eventually Americans are going to realize that the dangers of Mr. Obama's agendas to this country's liberty and to this country's economy.
But I thought it was remarkable when I saw his healthcare summit and how he got both Republicans and Democrats and industry professionals and advocates on healthcare, got them all in the same room and said they all agreed we got to do something to fix our healthcare system. And there was more agreement than disagreement. I don't think I've ever seen a president do that before. It was pretty remarkable.
Well, it's funny because nobody from Cato was invited to that summit, nor from Heritage, nor from AI, nor from anyone who believes in free market solutions to the healthcare issue. I'm encouraged by President Obama's willingness to tackle immigration reform. He needs to move fast though. The next election is approaching, and we don't want that issue to be on the table in November 2010. I'm also encouraged by his handling of the Summit of the Americas. I think that the populists in the region, led by Hugo Chavez, they want to fight. They want anti-Americanism is a key component of their agenda, of their populist agenda, and President Obama was very skillful to avoid confronting these leaders because that's what they wanted. However, I'm very worried about the economic agenda of President Obama. I think it's leading us to huge deficits that eventually will have to be paid through higher taxes or inflation or debt that is going to be put on our children's laps. And eventually, Hispanics, as part of this country, we're going to pay the price for the mishandling of the economy.
I'd like to actually see him use the bully pulpit more to talk about some of the stuff he was talking about during his campaign about the need for parents to sit down with their children, to spend time with them on their homework. I mean, these are simple things that no government program could do. And so I think that's what the president should be talking more about what he does with his family, instead of just proposing another government program.
You seem skeptical.
I don't think the president is supposed to be the preacher in chief or the family council in chief. That's not the role he has under the Constitution. So again, when people talk about having the president fixing the credit card market or the car industry market or talking to parents about how to raise their children, that's not what the president is supposed to do under the U.S. Constitution.